there's a lot of talk that the Fed's going to lower rates again. The problem is you have so many people kind of on the fence right now. The second rates lower to an enticing point, I think you'll have a flood of buyers or more buyers, which is indirectly going to push the market back up.
Yep.
Or directly, like push it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want lower rates and higher prices, or lower prices and higher rates?
Right. Which rates, again, are unpredictable.
Right.
So,
yeah. All right, guys, welcome to the Buff Show. Today I have Whitney Sterner with me, and we're going to go over kind of your 2026 buyer roadmap if you're wanting to get into a house. And this is the buyer confidence reset, how to feel in control in uncertain housing landscape. So
yes.
what do we got here, Whit? What are we working with?
Well, I think, the whole reason why we were bringing this up is because buyers are just not feeling super confident in what's out there right now.
Yeah.
They're so variable. Interest rates are overwhelming. You're not sure, you're hearing all the different programs that are being pushed out there, and inventory, affordability, especially. And I think that this will help get just a jump start and help you have that confidence to jump into the housing market right now.
Yeah, it's kind of it is uncertain. Like, a lot of people are like, when's the right time to time the market, and how do I time the market? And are rates going to come down? Is it going to get more affordable? All these questions. And then you get on social media and it's just like, it is an overload.
Yeah.
And the news media. And I wanted to bring up just kind of on some of our monthly indicators that we review. It's interesting because despite 2022, when rates skyrocketed and prices kind of dropped, like, you have our median sales price for the state of Utah, we're up to $525, which isn't too far below where we were at in 2022. Like, maybe 2022, we were probably just under $550. So we're creeping up on that as far as the peak. And then the average sales price, we're actually above where we were at in 2022. And we're at 726,000 for the
That's
average.
average.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
It's weird the median and average are so different.
So far off.
I think we're just seeing so many more higher end homes sell right now, which has been interesting. And then the Housing Affordability Index, which basically takes how affordable is the real estate market here in Utah right now, and it assesses the median price home under prevailing interest rates with the median income. And so you have your median household income, median price home, and interest rates. And we are at, about the lowest it's been. We're at 75 points right now, which is if you look at the chart, it's like super unaffordable. If you go back to 2012, it was like 190.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big spread.
Yeah, huge spread.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people are feeling like that pressure. It's just expensive to get into a house right now.
Yeah.
It's like when I bought my first house, it was $180,000. My payment was $933 a month, and I rented the upstairs for $900 a month. So I was like, I'm basically living here for free.
Yeah.
Like, I was stoked. I'm like, this is so easy.
Doing that
today is not that easy.
Right.
It's a lot harder. So I think there's a few myths that we need to kind of talk about that is destroying buyers' confidence in this market. And if you're going to try and get into a home in 2026, you have to kind of let go of these things. Yeah. The first one is, I need to time the market perfectly. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like, honestly, the market is unpredictable. And so timing it, how do you time something that is unpredictable?
Yeah.
Like, to have that perfect timing, you really do have to know exactly where things are going to go.
Right.
In my opinion. I don't know.
Well, if we could, we'd all be rich right now.
Oh, for sure.
Like, because we would be like, oh yeah,
this is when I sell my stock. This is
Yeah,
when I do
right.
things, but nothing is ever laid out in a pretty package when it comes to something that is subject to another entity, like
Right.
demanding that market or the way
Right.
that things change. So I think that timing the market is difficult to do.
Yeah.
You can have your best guess, you got your hypothesis of what's going to happen, but I think that for that reason, that's why that needs to go
Right.
aside.
What about rates have to drop before it makes sense?
I think that kind of coincides,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Timing the market. A lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of talk that the Fed's going to lower rates again. The problem is you have so many people kind of on the fence right now. The second rates lower to an enticing point, I think you'll have a flood of buyers or more buyers, which is indirectly going to push the market back up.
Yep.
Or directly, like push it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want lower rates and higher prices or lower prices and higher rates?
Right. Which rates, again, are unpredictable.
Right.
So
Yeah. How about I need 20% down to buy a house?
I feel like right now the market, with the way that it is, like that can be negotiated, or, you know, people are willing to take a little bit less, or,
Yeah.
you know, what you put down doesn't have to be like that set
Right.
percent anymore.
When I think people get confused a lot with like investment loans where it's like, but even those, I mean, not all, most would require 20% down, but I've seen some as like as low as 10 to 15% down on investment loans.
Yeah.
But yeah. If it's like a primary property, 3 to 5%. I mean, there's no money down programs out there
Yeah,
still.
absolutely.
So
Especially for those first time home buyers.
yeah, so you definitely don't need 20% down. Obviously, the more helps
Yeah.
that you have to put down.
Absolutely.
But I would say if I have a buyer that has 20% down to put down right now, they're a very strong, awesome buyer in this market.
Their lendability is probably a bit higher because they have that.
Yeah.
cash
Yeah,
to put
most
down.
people don't have the full 20% down if they're just getting started. Now, if they have a house that they're selling, yeah, I think that changes it because a lot of people can roll over that equity into
Yeah.
that next house, which is nice. So how do we rebuild some of the confidence in the market with buyers?
I feel like we got to find that sweet spot. And I think it comes by working in alignment with a lender.
Yeah.
You know, we have to find, where is your payment comfort zone? Obviously, the amount that you can get pre-approved for is going to play into that. But
So what are you
but yeah.
comfortable with?
that monthly payment is really what's going to be what you're seeing every month, and like something that affects you directly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about you?
I've never had a buyer that bought a house where where they felt that they were fully comfortable with the new change in payments and things that they would be taking on the responsibility. It's a big commitment, and I think it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Everybody goes through that. But then you get there and like your thermostat on like your finances kind of adjusts, and you're like, oh, okay, I can sustain this and do this. And it becomes a new normal. And then you outgrow that house and it's time to change. And it's just, I think as humans, we just don't like change. And so I think finding something that's sustainable that you can comfortably pay, that a lender's willing to lend you on. I think as long as you're comfortable with it and the numbers make sense, then I think just stick within that price range and budget. It's interesting because I think there's some cases where I think there's times when you should buy less house than you need, and there's times when you should probably plan ahead and buy more house than you need. Yeah. And that kind of goes on to our next question, is like the home life cycle and just planning. Knowing like, hey, how long are we going to be here? Is this more of like a forever home? I have people use that a lot. I never can use that because I'm like, I don't know if I'm moving next year, like in 10 years, I don't know. Currently, the max that we've stayed in the house is like 3 years. So, but a lot of people stay there for longer time cycles. And I think planning as your kids, depending on the stage that you're in, but if you have kids, like that kind of anchors you there longer.
Absolutely.
And I think planning for a house to where you can be there longer helps, so that you don't have to make all these moves like, oh, we had another kid.
Yeah.
Got to find another house with one more bedroom.
Leave yourself some room to grow.
Yeah.
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 For sure. And then I know, you're a data guy. You
Yeah.
like to look at the numbers, and I think that also helps to rebuild that confidence. Like even just what you showed us just now, like it's definitely something that if we don't take those numbers into consideration, it's, I don't know, knowledge is power. I think it's good to
For sure.
learn more about it first.
Yeah. If you get a feel for like what's happening in Utah with prices, the area rates, I think it just makes you more look at it over like a long enough time horizon. Like people always talk about 2008 and they're like, that was like the worst time ever. And then you look at the median sales price in 2008. Like this was 2006.
Yeah.
2008. It was like barely a bump.
Yeah. It was just
speed bump.
steady, smooth sailing. Right?
Speed bump in the road. But it was that was a cycle. And then it's been climbing ever since. So it's crazy. Real estate, if you stay in there long enough, it's like you can't lose. I think the hard part is people just don't know how long they're going to stay there, right?
Yep.
But I think with the right planning, knowing your data, that home life cycle, it'll give you some more confidence to be like, oh, we are going to be here for a while. I've talked about it, and I'm not sure if it's been on the podcast or not, but to a few people, like we recently bought a house, like it's been a year ago, like today almost, and it's a house that we can be there for a while. Like I don't foresee us outgrowing this anytime soon. And it's pretty nice being into a spot where we're like, hey, this gives us like room to grow, to play, to build, and kind of create that lifestyle that we want to have there. Is nice because I don't have to like be worrying about where I'm going to move and what's going to happen next. Like that takes a lot of time to try and figure all that out.
Well, it takes a little bit of pressure off of your daily living, like knowing like this is where I can be settled and like I'm confident here. Yeah. And so I think that taking that into consideration is part of that like personalized approach. Like this is, our spot that we need to be. Yeah. Like, and it feels right. So I think that, but life comes with ebbs and flows too, job changes or, you have to move. So I think that sometimes those have to be considered as well. Yeah.
And then creating a personalized scenario, like what's the best case, worst case, and most likely scenario. I think that's important as you make a big commitment or change in your life. What's like the best case scenario? What's the most likely, and what's the worst case? And can we navigate those accordingly? Hopefully worst case don't come, but there's always risk. I mean, you get in your car, there's risk that you don't get back out. Like there's just always risk, but those risks are very unlikely. And I think you can hedge against a lot of those risks with insurance and different things like that. And so just making those plans. And I think people oftentimes, when they make a big financial commitment or buy a house, it doesn't take long for them to get in that new routine. Yeah. And then it seems like you fast forward, 5 or 10 years. It's like your guys' house. You guys have been there for a while. Yep. Over the years, you're probably like, so 8 years. When you first bought it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is expensive and crazy and like nerve wracking. And now you're like, man, we are sitting good,
I mean, we've got some equity, but it's like, I sit here and you always want to do more. Right. But like, that's also something to consider, like how you want to build the home to suit your needs, just like you're doing with your house. Yeah. You're building it to suit your family, even though it might not have been like the perfect house. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's the same with me. Like, I don't love my layout, but
you're making it work.
It grew with our family. Yeah. We know we're not having any more kids. We have plenty of bedrooms. We know exactly what we're in for. Yeah. And I think that that's part of like regaining that confidence is knowing that like this will fit my family. Yeah. Even if we wanted to move 2 years sooner, like now we're at that crossroads, and it's like, okay, well, now I can build and make myself ready for the next step.
Yeah. And you guys are probably in a spot where because I know you guys have talked about moving and changing and some different plans there. And I don't know. I've had this conversation with some people where it's like, sometimes it's nice to stay in a more comfortable spot where where you're at now, it's comfortable. Payments are like easy.
Yeah.
House fits you. It might not be everything that you want, but that might allow you to have some more flexibility and freedom to go out and take more trips or travel and I don't know, just be a little bit more free.
Yeah.
When it comes to your lifestyle.
A little more change in the pocket that we can go and do things rather than just be house broke.
Right. So I think it ebbs and flows versus where we just change. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do all these changes and remodels and work and stuff, and it gets stressful. But I think there's phases, right?
Absolutely.
And that just comes with home ownership and stuff like that. So, well, let's jump into some of the tools that kind of put buyers back into control. So the first one that we have on here is the rate buy down. It's strategies. So there's a number of different buy downs that you can do. There's a 2-1 buy down, 3-1 buy down, and you're basically temporarily buying down the rate. I really like the buy downs because you're not permanently buying down the rate. Like I had a phone call with a buyer today, and he's like, we can spend an extra $5,000 to buy down this rate, like a 1/10 of a point or something. Maybe it was an 1/8, I can't remember, but like a small percentage point. But it would cost $5,000, and it would take them 5 years to recapture that investment. So they'd have to keep the loan for 5 years at minimum to get back the full $5,000 before it would start saving them money. And we kind of talked about it, and we landed on they would likely refinance within the next 5 years. And so he's not going to take that gamble. But I like the short-term buy downs because that basically goes into an account. If you refinance it, they get you that money back, which is nice. So I do like the temporary rate buy downs. There are permanent rate buy downs. I know there's a number of builders. I think one scenario where it could make sense is there's been some builders that have been offering some pretty crazy low rates in the 5s, and that's enticing because that might not be something that you would ever need to refinance anytime soon. There's always a chance, but that could definitely give you the confidence and security that you're I got a good rate that's locked in.
This is where I feel comfortable. That 5% feels good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
What else do we got?
We've got contingency planning. So say something goes wrong, whether it's in the contract or years down the road, or, things change. It's good to be plan ahead.
Yeah.
And know that I might want to switch jobs in the next couple of years. And if I do, is it going to be here? Or even just contingencies with the agreement.
Yeah. The contract, due diligence. It's like you're just courting the house, dating it to make sure you like each other before you fully commit and get married. Yeah. So it's never we made an offer, we have to buy this house.
Yeah. You can always back out.
And I like some of the contingency planning that you were saying. There's been a number of houses that one we have under contract right now has a second kitchen in the basement, laundry, bedrooms. They could easily rent that out and make, I don't know, $1,500 a month extra if they wanted to. Now they don't have to. If they want to keep it open and use it for their family, they can. But that is a nice contingency point that they could be kind of going back to the worst case scenario. Yeah. If we had to get an extra $1,500 a month, we could just by renting out the basement. And that adds up. I mean, that's $18,000 a year. That would just be additional rental income.
Yeah.
If they open that up.
And even if you needed to use that to help pay down your own home, you just put that right back into the house, use that kind of as your extra mortgage payment, or even half of it, but something to keep you above water type of thing. So I think that ADUs are definitely a plus for that type of situation.
The next one's negotiation leverage. So this is a huge point, I think, in this economy and market right now. Sellers are a lot more flexible and negotiable. Our last podcast we did, we were talking, it was a market update, and we're like, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? And Cade was like, it's nobody's market. And I kind of like that.
It's the negotiators.
Yeah.
Market.
No, it really
whoever can
is.
negotiate the best.
It's like, or whoever wants it less.
Yeah.
I'm like, wins in this market. Let me see if I can find this percentage of original list price received, because here it is. So in October 2025, sellers received on average 95.6% of their list price. So for every 100,000, they were getting like roughly $5,000 off or something like that. That doesn't account for seller paid concessions, which is like closing costs, which I see a lot right now.
Yeah.
And those can vary anywhere from like $5,000 to $20,000 or more, you know? And so I would say sellers really are getting less than 95% from their list price right now, which is a huge potential savings for buyers right now. And it's crazy because you only go back 3 years and they were getting over 100% because the market was crazy and on fire. So that's a good bonus. Like
absolutely
6, 7, 8% off a list price. Not bad as a buyer. Yeah. And then the next one, creative timing strategies. Do you have any examples or ideas on how that gives buyers control back?
I haven't had any like personal experience like recently with any like creative timing, but I think I think sometimes like holidays kind of drive people to jump into it, or like or even just timing the market. Like if a listing is kind of dated, it's been on the market for a while, there's a chance that the sellers it's on the market for a reason. There's a chance that they would like to get that sold sooner.
Like right now, we're filming this in November. There's a lot of sellers out there that are like, I don't want to hold this through Christmas, through the holidays, plow snow, and so on and so forth. And so you'll see the percentage of original list price drop. It does a pretty big dip, in the winter months, just because people don't want to have to deal with it. It's funny how it ebbs and flows. Like this is the chart, and it jumps up quite a bit every spring. So like that is one way, like you said, kind of timing the market. Not that you can time the market, but you can time some of the seasons and find more motivated sellers, and being more creative and flexible on your timing. We have another deal going on right now where the sellers, they're buying a house, and in some of our negotiations in the contract, we're like, hey, you can stay here for like a week after. You can close on this one, close on your next one, and then take some time to move in for like a week. Yeah. And that was, some creative timing there in the contract that allowed them to not have to like close, move, where that would have been a lot of stress, especially in the month of December. So we put that into place. So I think there are ways to kind of look at the market or each potential deal and get creative on whether it's closing or just when, the seasonality of real estate.
Well, and then reflecting back on that data, you can see when the prices dip and how they climb. Like the data shows it,
Yeah.
So like, creative timing comes with a little bit of research.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I don't know, confidence checklist. I think let's skip that one.
Yeah.
So I think circling back, we have our buyer guide, and this is basically kind of the roadmap. If you're a buyer looking to get into the market in 2026, we can send you one of these or send you a PDF copy, or mail you one. But this is kind of a good overview of the process, and we're going to just cover kind of the first 4 steps here up until getting, something under contract. And I think the first one is like, what's your vision? What are your wants and needs? You as a person, your family, whoever's going to be living underneath that roof. What's the purpose for like changing the house? Is it school districts? Is it to be closer to family? Is it because you need the space? Is it because you don't have anywhere to live and you just don't want to pay rent? Is it, there's a ton of different changes. And I think your vision and your wants and needs would definitely determine how urgent your decision should be. Like in your case, it's not very urgent, right? Because you're just like, well, we have a house.
We have
It's
everything
cheap.
we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of like a want list versus if you didn't have a house and the alternative was just paying rent, then you would probably have it be higher up on your list because you're like, I'm just paying rent, which is 100% interest anyways. Is there a way to structure this to where I can get into a house and get into a place? And so I think the motivation there changes.
Yeah.
And just writing that out, getting clear on what you're after, getting on the same page with those involved, I think is super important.
Absolutely. And then I think, the next thing is your team, having
Yeah.
a good buyer's agent, someone who is familiar with the market, understands how the ebbs and flows kind of roll in and out, and then having a lender who can also understand those same things and also have like the tools to find you the best rates, the best programs. Like there's so many options out there that lenders can do for you. So I think finding that right team, someone also who can work together with your buyer's agent and just form a cohesive group that can take you to that finish line and help you celebrate that in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I would add in there, like getting a pre-approval letter, and like while you're working with the team, working with your buyer's agent, determining the areas and everything that you want to look at, and then making sure got your pre-approval letter and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us into the next one.
Right. So we called it the pre-search and then the research. So the pre-search is like your email search that we can put together for you. It's something like we've gathered your wants and needs. We've gathered your budget. We know you're pre-approved for this. We know your payments you want around this. So like we take all of those factors, plug those in, and we start that pre-search. We're looking online. We're watching the home tours. We're looking into how it will pan out. And everything else that like the school district, the neighborhood, safety, everything that comes with that pre-search stage. And then the research stage is going to the homes, right? Like touring those homes, getting educated on the area and what's around that home and if it would be a good fit for you and your family.
Yeah, it really is. As you start doing that, knowledge is power, and you'll start to be like, oh, this is doable.
Yeah.
Like our parameters, what we're trying to accomplish here. Or maybe it's like we're trying to find a needle in the haystack. It's going to be super hard. We need to adjust or tweak things or look in a different area or figure out a way to make more money. Whatever it is, you'll kind of start to gather that as you are looking and like making those moves. It just kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
It seems like. And then the last step is just like the execution. Once you've done that, you got your wants and needs, the vision, you have your team, and you've gotten educated on the market. Then it's just you find the right one, write an offer, and then
boom, 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 get it all done.
I mean, there's more steps there.
Yep.
But the rest of that, if you have the right team into place, they can kind of help you through that process and everything. But I think the biggest thing that we wanted to just highlight here is who's in control. Like I think a lot of times people feel helpless in this market because it's scary and things cost so much and rates are so high. And
there's uncertainty.
I think there is that, but I think that is a factor that will always be there.
Oh yeah.
There's always going to be uncertainty. I've heard it, all the time. Clients buy a house and their parents are like, oh my gosh, you're spending that much on a house? And then I just ask them, what did your parents say when you bought your house, 10, 20 years ago? Yeah. It doesn't matter the time frame. It could have been 30 years ago and their parents were like, what? You're spending 30 grand on a house? we spend 1,000, like, and so the one thing that I do know is we fast forward 10 years from now, everybody's going to be like, why didn't I buy a house back in 2025 or 2026, So it really is like the market is what it is. Rates are what they are. You can't really control those, but there are variables that you can control. And that's just getting a clear vision for what you're after, and then figuring out what levers you can pull to make it all work, right? I know I mentioned this a few times, but we're still renting out part of our house that we just bought to make it work. And do I want to like share walls with a renter right now? Not really, but we're still doing it so that we could kind of take back that control and make it happen. So I think wherever there's a will, there's a way in this market. And if you just get clear on what you're after, you can work backwards and kind of piece things together and make it work.
Absolutely.
So, do you have any last final thoughts or advice, or
I don't,
as we head into this next year?
Just, find the person that you're confident with and of as your agent. Like, there's so many great agents out there.
Yeah.
And, I think that finding someone who's ready to jump in and not afraid to get their feet wet, helping you find what you need, that's a huge advantage to you as a buyer and as a seller.
Yeah.
Like, I think just look for the right person.
Yeah. Reach out to Whitney.
Or Paden. Or any of our awesome agents.
Whitney's amazing, and she will make your dreams a reality. So it really is. It
chills.
Yeah. No, it is it's a fun job. Like, I try not to, like, I had one guy tell me, he's like, what bugs me about real estate agents is they take this big monumental, like, process. It's a big deal. It's like almost like having a kid or something, and they're like, oh, congrats, you bought a house. Like, we just do it every day. So it's like less exciting, I guess. Yeah. And I've always remembered that. I'm like, let's not ever like diminish like the importance of buying a house, because it's one of those things that, like, this is like where you'll be coming home to for the next, however many years that you live there. Like, where you buy and move, that determines your daily habits and patterns for the rest of the foreseeable future. Determines where your kids go to school, churches you go to, the neighbors, the friends you hang out with. Like, there's just so many things that are involved there. And I think it's such a important part of the culture here in America, like the American dream. Yep. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. So reach out to us if you guys have any goals of getting into a house or a second house or investment property. We help with all those: land, multifamily, commercial stuff. Yep. We can help you and make it happen. Heck yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.